Welcome to today's masterclass. My name is Jose Rivera. I am the CEO of CSIA, and today I will be the presenter. In case you don't know about CSIA, we are a global non-profit trade association with over 500 members in 35 countries. For system integration members, the CSIA Best Practices Manual and CSIA certification are some of the more popular member benefits, but you will also enjoy a variety of others, including professional development, learning from your peers, and access to professional service experts, including insurance, financial, and legal, who understand the SI's unique business needs. For partner members, CSIA offers an ecosystem to grow your system integration programs, understand your customers' pain points, monitor industry trends, and share your thought leadership. With thousands of qualified integrators and suppliers, the CSIA Industrial Automation Exchange helps system integrators, industry suppliers, and manufacturers connect and do business. For system integrators and partners, it provides a platform to support your content and search engine optimization efforts, position yourself as a thought leader, and nurture prospects during their complicated buyer's journey. In case you aren't a current member or haven't renewed your membership, now it's a great time to join or renew. Membership provides you many benefits, including a full lineup of virtual events and other resources for you and your entire team, from accounting to sales to operations, 365 days per year. And before I start my presentation, I would like you to chat if you want, use the chat function. And if you want to ask me questions, I'll be addressing them at the end of the presentation, but please use the Q&A box for this. Okay, so to set the stage, we will be meeting again in Denver after a 3-year hiatus. We had to cancel the 2020 and 21 conferences. And if you do the math, it'll be a little more than 3 years that we did not have an in-person event. So we very much look forward to it. But to set the stage, I took this picture and imagine that we had dived for 3 years and we're now coming up for air to the surface. And this is how I feel this event is going to be, because we will find when we get to the surface that we have a very different reality than when we went down. Judging here by the covers of some magazines, last year we started thinking about the return to the office and what will it take. And it was already the conversation about hybrid, but how does hybrid work, or what does hybrid look for our company? Remote work, we made it all work. This, by the way, not just in the US, this was a global experiment, everybody making remote work. And so now going back to the office, there is a desire to keep some of this remote work at least optional for whoever wants to participate in it. This is the new reality. And we also are coming back to rethinking the entire topic of work. What is work? How should work be done? Where should work be delivered? And this also has created big resignation and labor shortages that we're still dealing with. During the pandemic, a lot of the available money to spend went into buying products away from the traditional services of restaurants, vacations, etc. And it created a huge bottleneck on the supply chains that we're still struggling to recover from. And at the same time, because of all this ordering of gadgets and the whole thing, we have ended in a chip shortage. And that very much impacts our products in the automation world that our system integrators and partners are providing to their end user clients. So quite a lot of challenges that we have in front of us, but hold on, because we're not done yet. We have not finished the COVID-19 pandemic, and we're already in a new global crisis, and one totally man-made by the invasion of Russia of Ukraine. So very troubling, because it already has consequences around the world, but one that we have not fully seen the impacts of is the food catastrophe, just because Ukraine was a big supplier of food for the world. So now going to the theme of our conference. Every year that we put the conference together, we try to look at what is out there, what is relevant, what are the needs of our members to cover during our various presentations at the conference. And then we develop a theme, and that helps us, structure our recruiting process for the presenters and panels, etc. So this year, the theme that we selected is the future of work. And we decided to break it down into the who, which is the people. Where is the office versus remote, the delivery remotely of our work, all those good things. And then the what, which is the deliverables of system integrators, something that has been changing over time, but the pandemic just accelerated this trend to digital transformation. And then I'll provide some specifics of our conference that we have at the end of the month. So this was the brainstorming of what does future of work mean for system integrators, right? So it's not just the workplace, it's also the team. Most of the system integrators have leveraged regular in-person meetings to develop team, to develop culture, cohesion, onboarding, mentoring of new employees. All of that has been challenged. Technology, I'm not referring to just a simple emailing and access to the cloud, but it's more of this enabling of this remote work, including, for example, insider networking. An informal function that we had, what they always say, around the cooler box, this is now moving into the virtual space, because even if some of the resources are moving back to the office, not everybody is, because some of them may not be even in the same state. There are, of course, legal, tax, and insurance implications. So if you can make it all virtual, can't you just put your company in a different state that is lower tax? So this is not as easy as I'm saying it, but I'm sure that several of you have thought about it. So we will have some of the presentation center around these liabilities of having remote workers and the obligations, etc. And overall, what is the system integrators' deliverables? And this has been changing over time, like I said before. It will continue to do so, but it also means more consulting, which means getting earlier in the projects of clients, etc., etc. So let's talk about the who, which is the people. System integrator business is a people business, and we can only deliver to a growing opportunity that system integrators have in front of them if we can recruit and develop and retain those resources. In an environment of the big resignation, in an environment of easy mobility, because you don't have to relocate to take a remote job, this has become more important than ever. So very early on, I reached out to Heather Haas. She's president of Advisa, a company that specializes in helping companies develop, strong cultures. And her presentation is a pragmatic one, focusing on people and culture as a way of making your company stronger and more resilient in this time of important and significant transition. And because the people topic is so important, we're also going to have the closing speaker, which is Alex Jobsowski from Miller Resources. And the name and the face looks familiar because he used to be with ITR Economics. So he will be delivering this presentation on effective talent recruiting and retention strategies. All very practical, because our members always want to be able to take wisdom that they can apply the Monday they come back to their offices. And as always, we have tracks, and the tracks is where we have members, partners, system integrators, and other speakers provide their perspective to complement, this whole topic of people. So we have the opportunity to have the two recruiting companies that we have as members of CSIA, and they will be sharing their experience. We are creating and retaining leadership through through training. And this is one of our system integrator members. This is DMC and John Sullivan. He will be presenting the training that they do for their leadership circles at their company. And this is one way of developing your bench and delivering the message of the importance of talent for the association, for the system integrator employees. Gig economy. So this is totally en vogue, and we will hear from a system integrator who has developed, an approach to this together with a couple of other companies. Very, very interesting. So I personally look forward to this presentation as well. And then there is always like an insurance side of things. We had a taste of that through one of our virtual events. But if you're having people working remotely, it's not the same as what you had before, everybody working in the office. From an insurance perspective, liability perspective, very, very fascinating, because we also have the ability to recruit people from a much broader geography. Than there are differences in states, laws, and regulations. So the provider of the insurance program will be delivering this, which is also like a very interesting topic. So now let's go to the where. Where is, again, not just where do we work, office or at home, but it's also how are we reaching to our audiences. And the audiences are our end user clients, but it's also the people that we want to recruit. So in the past, we had all these abilities of meeting for lunch with prospects and attending in-person events, etc. All of that has changed. So, but really, let me start by sharing this. CSIA has a benchmarking program, and it's called Easy Stats. We have multiple ones. This is the one that gets done on a monthly basis. We asked the same questions. What's your revenue and what's your sentiment? And we make it simple, up or down. And then we add 2 or 3 more questions that were crafted by the benchmarking committee to try to address a current topic. So this was done in April of 21. And we asked on the topic of returning to work, we asked our members, what are your plans? And somehow, as expected, very, very few said 100% office and 100% remote. And this is a little bit what the CEO of JP Morgan Chase said, that he did not see everybody working from home or everybody working from the office, that he saw a hybrid, which is, by the way, this is the answer here that we have in front of us, because if you round it up, basically 50% are saying we will be working mostly from the office, but we will allow remote. And the other one is saying like, we will emphasize remote, but we will insist on a few days working in the office. And I am sure that if we were to ask this question today, a year after we asked it, there will be much more flexibility towards letting people work part of their schedule from home. On the bottom of the graph of the histogram, what you're seeing is the part that surprised me the most, because the people by generation that are wanting to go back to the office, not on a full-time basis, but they like the office, are the younger generations. So we're talking about the Gen Z and the millennials, right? So on the left side is where would you like to work, is from home, is on the left side, and on the right-hand side is the office. And you see the big bars for Gen Z and the millennials. And I thought it was an anomaly, and then I started digging into it, started reading more, and this is not an anomaly. The younger generations are the ones that may be most comfortable with technology and remote work technology, but they still crave for networking, for mentoring. They still have to develop their professional network, and that is best conducted in person. So again, from other studies that I have read, this is actually not uncommon. But I'm actually very glad that this information was brought to us from our members by having this regular survey. So if you are not part of EasyStat, it doesn't cost you anything. You're welcome to join, and you're welcome to look at the results. I think it's very interesting, and it's a great job done by the benchmarking committee. So we're going to have a keynote speaker His name is Brick Lamoureux from Microsoft. Microsoft was mentioned multiple times in the literature that I have been reading. And there is this very interesting 2022 Work Trend Index annual report. And it's all about making hybrid work work. This document is available. If you Google it, you will be able to find it and download it. I encourage you to do so and take a look at it. I think it's fascinating. We are living through a big transformation for our companies in our workplaces. And I think we should keep our eyes totally open to what's happening. So Microsoft is not only a provider of a lot of these tools that a lot of us are using, but they also have facilities, and they have leading facilities where they have been remodeling them to suit the new needs. And some of these new needs represent, being able to meet in the office, which is like one of the great advantages of being in person, this ability to network, to brainstorm, to have these type of sessions. And so they have created more of these meeting spaces. And then also be cool about, like whoever wants to come and have their, quiet moment, in their offices. They're also our leader in sustainability. And interestingly enough, in 2019 in Nashville, we had Microsoft presenting, and this time it was on the background, all the technology that they use to manage their campuses, such that they're energy efficient, sustainable, all these good things. But Brick will be covering industry trends, then hybrid work implementation best practices, and then his very own perspective being a Microsoft employee. So I'm very glad that we were able to get Brick, to participate and present and share his wisdom at our conference. Very interesting topic. So the rest of the track covering the word topic is this part about digital strategy, right? So in the past, digital was important, but now it's even more important because we have all become much more comfortable, and the targets that we're after, again, end users and prospects, this is like where they find their work, their references, etc. So Georgia Whalen from Rivergate Marketing will be leading this presentation and then a panel. And the other part that is very interesting, and this is the third bullet. This is the presentation delivered by Fegri Drinker, the provider of our legal plan, are the legal implications for this new world, for these new arrangements, and also implications on our contracts that get impacted by all the challenges that we have now with number one, supply chain, and number two, inflation. So again, a flavor of this was provided by one of the virtual webinars that we had. It was last year in November. You may want to go back to our recordings and watch it, but this will be now the next iteration. And now it comes to the what, the deliverables of the system integrators. So if we remember a little bit this finger, this is what we had a little bit as a logo for the 2020 and then the 2021 conference. And the theme for those two conferences was claiming the role of the system integrator in the digital transformation. So digital transformation is not new. It has been around, but it is one that just gathered much more momentum. During all this period that we have been going through the pandemic, I have heard from so many system integrators how opportunities materialized for them on two fronts. At the beginning, it was automate to reduce the worker density on the factory floor to try to prevent contagion. That was the first wave. The second wave was automate to cope with labor shortages. So this has created a lot of opportunity. A system integrator shared with me that they always had some opportunity to automate some spaces, but the end user was not able to clear the hurdle, financial hurdle, to get this project justified. And it was through this pandemic that for those specific projects, the hurdle was lowered and they were able to get it done. We are going to have Blair Simmons from Raytheon Intelligence in Space. And because these companies keep changing their portfolios, you may want to take a look at Raytheon. Raytheon is a huge conglomerate that is in the defense, in the aerospace, in the air transportation business. So for example, they own Pratt & Whitney. So maybe you want to check it out. It's a very big company. So they are also big implementer of new technology. And in this presentation, he will be addressing the new system integrator end user relationship. In particular, when adopting to new technology, but also digital transformation. So in the past, I've had conversation with some system integrators, and they think that digital transformation is just marketing, et cetera, et cetera. And I said, you know, let's bring an end user and have him present what they think it is and how this is transforming their relationship. And after Blair's presentation, we're going to have a little bit of a panel with John Dyke, who is the CEO of CESMI, Clean Energy Smart Manufacturing Innovation Institute, and Ryan Kahalin from FZ System Integrator. And we'll be going deeper into this topic. And we're going to follow with a track following on this new deliverables of the system integrators. So we're going to have digital transformation, and we're going to make a parallel. Mark Williams is going to do that, convergence with IT channel partners. Mark Williams is somebody that has been participating in the digital transformation. He's not a CSIA person, but he has been sharing and making the parallel of the IT world with the OT world. And I think it's fascinating. Sometimes industries are ahead of ours, and we can see what has happened to them such that, you know, we can prepare for our industry. We're going to have open process automation panel with different providers providing this technology, and this creates a new approach to process automation, and this will be a good conversation. And a powerful option for system integrators, strategic buyers. Here's what this is behind. It's a mergers and acquisitions conversation. System integrators that want to deliver in areas that are not new to them. They don't have to develop their capability organically. They have the option of doing it through acquisitions. And we're going to have Clint Bundy and Kathy Durham and a couple of others present what they have been seeing. The system integration market has become a very hot market on the M&A scene, being the target for strategic buyers, but also acquisition by other system integrators who want to become bigger system integrators and get some funding from private equity to do so. So it'll be also an interesting conversation. And we're going to have the presentation by AWS, a CSIA member now, and they want to provide, you know, all the work that they're doing to enable smart manufacturing through their cloud and their cloud computing. So before I go into the specifics of our conference, I want to thank our sponsors very deeply. We were able to survive this 2 years without a conference, thanks to the generous support by our sponsors who moved into the digital space, and we had all the virtual events sponsored. We continue the digital events, less frequency as we had last year, but we're also having the conference. And all these partners that you see here have been great sponsors of our events. And so thank you very much, and we'll see you in Denver. So let's talk about Denver, the conference that we have ahead of us. So if you have checked it out, this is where we'll be staying. This is the Hilton Denver downtown. It's really downtown Denver. And one of the things that you may or may not know, but the Denver airport has a very convenient light rail that brings you into downtown. I took it. It took 40 minutes, very comfortable ride. I think it was $10.50 or $11, something like that. It departs directly from the airport and it gets to Union Station, which is downtown Denver. It's 8 blocks from there to the hotel. I walked it. I had a wheelie bag, no problem. But you can also take a free trolley that goes on the mall, or take an Uber. I'm just saying you don't have to do it. I just found it like very convenient, especially in those days where you have a lot of traffic, right? The rail goes through it. But it's also a reminder we're downtown, and what you see a little bit on the picture on the left, and the scenery, greenery, you have the plaza. And on that plaza is where we are going to have our lunches. So we are doing a very big deal for this conference to leverage, number one, the warmer temperature, because it's going to be at the end of June. and also to help, break the monotony of being inside of presentation rooms. And here's another thing that we're doing outdoors. This is going to be the first time that we open the conference at a baseball stadium. And maybe you're not into baseball. Let me tell you that you don't have to be into baseball to enjoy being with your peers in the open. GE Digital is sponsoring the welcome reception. We're going to walk from the hotel to the stadium. We're going to have some guides along the way. Look at this. When we went there to check it out and finalize the details, this was the most beautiful day ever. Denver is known for its sunny days. I really look forward to this opener. Remember, again, this is not so much about baseball. It is about networking and enjoying, the start of our conference. I always refer to the opening event as the first day of the high school reunion, because everybody's so excited to see each other. And imagine 3 years afterwards, all the stories that you need to share with your peers. And this is of the other material that we have at our conference and that many of our members expect. So before the conference, we have the best practices workshop that we always provide. We had to adjust a little bit of the slightly changed schedule that we had to take because of limitations by our hotel. So it's not on this page, but if you want to, all the detail is on the information. There's still a few spots available. We're going to have the best practices committee talk about the version 6.0 and all the work that has been done and what to expect. The finance panel discussion, this is coming through Clayton McCurvey, one of the providers of our financial checkup. We have outsourcing best practices and speed networking. This is new. With this new environment of having to leverage resources wherever they are, we have best practices framework, but then we go into speed networking. Don't be shy. We'll have like a big room and we'll do this in a quick way. It's a little bit like speed dating, if you ever heard about that, but it's for businesses. And last but not least, what you see on the right-hand side, this is what we had in 2019 at the very end of our conference. We had the hot stove. And it provides some great moments to reflect system integrators making mistakes and willing to share them and how they were able to make better companies, learning from those mistakes. This will be a post-pandemic edition, and we all look forward to them. And not to forget, at our conference, we always do the CSIA Awards. This year, we will try to combine the good side of virtual events, which is what we did in the last 2 years, plus the in-person qualities and benefits. So we're going to have this done in person at the conference. And in addition, we will live stream this event through Zoom. If you have members of your family that could not attend, if you have colleagues from work that wanted to attend but could not attend, please invite them. This will be an evening where we will honor our awarded colleagues. And so very much look forward to this. What we will also have in a similar fashion of in-person for those who are at the conference and those that want to watch it remotely through a virtual event, it's also available. It's our town hall. We are about to send out the agenda and the official notification to the primary contact. What I will tell you will be on the agenda is always, as we do, is review financially where we are. We will be talking about our new strategy that we have been developing with the board and with our committee leads. But also we will be proposing a change to our bylaws to enable non-certified system integrators to be eligible for board positions. There are no board positions right now that are open for election, but they will be in 2023. And we want to have the ability to have maximum of 2 positions for the board available to non-certified system integrators. All of this is done in an attempt to have better representation of our system integration members, but also to get closer and better understand what we need to do to increase our certification company percentage within our association. So in case you have not done so, please register. This is our website. And you can also register if you're not planning to be in person for the awards and our town hall. We put them in exactly the same location where we have had this event posted, which is on our calendar of events on our website. Register and plan to join. And if you have time now, these are the other events that are ahead of us. As you know, we have adopted this value delivery through virtual events throughout the year. I think it's a good habit to jot it down. And once every 2 weeks, we have one of these events and spend 1 hour with CSIA at a maximum and get updated and learn something new. We will have these presentations following, in the coming months. And if you have any questions, this is where you can find us. I'm looking and there are no questions on the Q&A, and it's probably because everybody is properly understood everything.
Jose, hi, sorry, Jose, I'm popping out of my trash can. There was a question that got put into the chat, and it is, greetings. From your viewpoint, to what extent workplace, industrial, occupational health and safety influence attractiveness of the workplace for young professionals?
Okay, so I'm reading it. I'm trying to try to understand. I don't fully understand the question. I will say this: if the question is like, is our industry attractive to young professionals? What I will say is that this industry used to be, a sleepy industry for quite a while. And with all that is being enabled through digital transformation, Industry 4.0, it has become a very hot industry because you're now enabling a lot of new technology to come into play. You are not forced as a young professional to come and relearn COBOL, to program applications that were developed for your DCS that is still running after 25 years, etc. This industry is changing dramatically, and you're having like very cool technology. In terms of try to address this safety influence.
I think the question is more like, if you're a young person looking to get a job, are you assessing the potential employer by their health and safety requirements or standards, or are people looking at that as part of their decision to work for somebody?
I would say yes. And here's like one thing that I will say that is a great thing about our industry. We're a little bit like the airline industry, which is safety is spelled with the capital letters, because some of our plants are running hazardous environments. So we're subject to blowing up a whole village, if our plant is not run efficiently and there's an accident. So that's why we have redundancy. That's why we have all these studies, etc. So I think that from that perspective, yes, it is great to be part of an industry that does what it has to be done, but ensures that we are doing it safely, such that the incidence rate of accidents is minimized to the lowest possible.
So we've also got a question about the logistics, and Aaron is asking if people need to reserve spots for the individual topics and panels, which I from what I recall, it was just, you show up and go to whatever sessions you want during the day. You don't have to specifically sign up for a session, but there are some events where we want you to let us know if you're going to attend, and that would be the baseball game, the awards dinner, anything basically where we could use a head count to be able to adjust our food and beverage and that kind of thing. Am I answering that correctly, Jose?
Yes, you are. And also for the best practices workshop, that is optional. There's a separate cost to it. It's also like a limited number of participants. So that is also something that you have to decide and register for it early on. But absolutely right. At our CSIA events, it's like you decide on the spot where you want to go. And it has worked out so far, so good. I see one question asking, no ITR keynote this year. You're right, Richard was asking this. Good observation. ITR is not a part of our conference this year. what we have done, if you recall, in the last 2 years, is we have had ITR deliver their presentations through virtual events. So we have that for the end of the year in around October, and we plan to do that. I think that that is a great way for us to share the value with our colleagues at work. I also think that it allows us to really take all the notes that we need to take. I think it's sometimes challenging to do that at the conference, and this is the way we decided. I also felt that the topic of this future of work is such a big deal for everybody these days. I just wanted to optimize everything around the delivery to address that topic.
Okay, somebody's asking about the dress code. Is there a dress code for the various events?
So like we normally try to dress up a little bit more for the awards dinner, okay? So like, but don't make that the showstopper. Otherwise, CSIA has been casual even before the pandemic, okay? So I don't know if that is a question. Can I come in my pajamas? Okay, so that would be no, but okay, maybe a little bit more business casual. That's really what the dress code is.
I don't have anything else in the chat, so I think we're good. I didn't look at the Q&A. Were there any in the Q&A?
There was a question. There was a question for the app for our conference, and yes, as we have done in the prior years, we will have an app that you will be able to download and do everything through your iPad or phone, smartphone. So we're in the process of assembling that, but yes, we will have that. All right. So look, I really appreciate you taking time to take a look into this meeting. There's one question coming in. Do we have a special room for meetings? I don't know if the question is about one-to-one meetings. One-to-one meetings, that's what it is. So we don't have specific room for that, but at the hotel, we have a lot of places where we have.
Don't forget, there's a community cafe. You can always schedule. Oh. Yep. So there will be a sponsored, I think it's called SI Community Cafe, sponsored by Inductive, which will be a little area kind of roped off for small conversations. And I think there might be some desks and charging stations and that sort of thing. So if you wanted to meet up with somebody, you could always say, hey, let's meet at the cafe at X time. That would be one option.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And what we also have, because you know, in conferences, you end up sitting a lot. So this community cafe, this year, you'll have sofas and all those good things. But then also in the area, you know, we will have high boys where you can sit there on stools or just stand there and have your conversation. So it's a great point, actually, because our conference is one that is incenting to network, and to network, you now and then need to have the total one-on-one conversations. And so there are lots of areas where you can have that. So it's not one single room, it's like all distributed throughout the conference.
And having said that, you can work with the hotel to book a room exclusively for you. I have no idea what that would cost. If you are interested in that, send me an email and I will give you our hotel contact information that you can work with to rope aside a special room for yourself. I think the cafe will probably do just fine.
Perfect. So, okay, so I hope that I got you motivated. If you're not registered, please go ahead and register. If you have registered, make sure that you have your ticket, your hotel, all of this in line. And we look forward to having you.
I have one more thing. Sorry, Jose. I'm really taking over. I'm making power grab here. We are finding that we're sold out on our room block. So we're working with the hotel to try and come up with some additional rooms. And if that doesn't work out, we will find a hotel nearby for folks to get to. If you are having a problem booking a room, please send me an email at it. You can send me an email, you can find me, and I will make sure that we let you know what the latest is on the hotel block.
And for the list of attendees, that's one question that is published on the website. You know, if you go to it, it's the name of the attendees. It's listed and we periodically update that. Okay, so see you all in Denver and have a great rest of the day and of the week. Bye, everybody.